Hey everybody, it's me, Jill, and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 12, Episode 10, The Horny Hungarians. Well, this episode opens with a lot of quick little scenes in everybody's home, and when we get to Margaret's, she's there with Marge Sr., and they're planning Marge Sr.'s birthday. She's turning 75. Margaret's going to have like Hungarian food and Hungarian music and Hungarian everything. We get a little montage from the Hungarian Revolution, and Margaret tells us in her confessional that her mother came over when she was 10 years old with her parents. They were escaping the communists, and they had to cross over this bridge, and little Marge Sr. was on her bicycle crossing the bridge, and it was just very scary. Marge Sr. kind of tears up a little bit now, remembering when they first got to America and how they didn't speak the language at all, and her mother worked as a house cleaner. Her father had 2 jobs, and just like how hard life was for them when they were first starting out in America. So then they start talking about the party. Margaret says she hopes that Jennifer and Bill come, and then she said, "I'll tell you who's not coming, Teresa." And Marge Sr. said, "Oh, yeah, because you're having like a little bit of trouble with her, right?" And Margaret's like, "Yes, even though I know you love her. We just don't need the drama." Now we're at Teresa's house, and she and the girls are like packing up the pantry for the move. She has a million bags of stuff for Dolores, who's going to pick them up and bring them to the women's shelter that she works with. Side note, it's so hard to know what to keep and what to throw away when you're packing up your house. For example, I knew that we didn't have a house to move into, so we had to put our things in storage, and because of that, I was very like cutthroat with getting rid of this, that. I was like really making some deep cuts because I didn't want to store something for, however long, I didn't know, only to like throw it out when I finally looked at it. So I made some tough decisions that, not gonna lie, there have been several times recently that I'm looking for something and I have to remember, oh, you threw that out. It's not easy. So Gia answers her phone and it's Melania. I guess she's like, where are you? My practice is over. And Teresa goes, oh, shit. Go get her. Gia, why are you cursing? Like, no one needs to hear you right now. And Teresa's like, all right, sorry. Just go get your sister. So Dolores arrives now to pick up the items for the women's shelter, and they're having a cup of coffee, and Dolores mentions that she hasn't been on vacation. She hasn't gone anywhere since before COVID, and she really needs a break because now all the stuff with her mom going on and taking care of her. She notices Teresa, all the pictures that she posts with Louis, and they're always on some beach somewhere. They're always in bathing suits on a beach. I don't know. It seems like they go away a lot. Dolores said, but I don't have anyone to go with. And Teresa goes, I would love to go away with you, but I don't know about the other girls. Excuse me, aren't you in the middle of a move? How do you have time for a getaway, ma'am? Anyway, Teresa's mad that Tracy and Margaret wouldn't wear her workout clothes at the softball charity thing. And she thinks that Tracy is up Margaret's ass. I'm not so sure about that. If you guys remember, I didn't even think Tracy liked Margaret at first. But now, because Teresa's coming after both of them, it's kind of drawn those two together. Anyway, Teresa's like, remember I sent that text to everybody? And Dolores goes, yeah, I'm kind of surprised those two were on it. Teresa, yeah, I'm not going to exclude anybody. Oh, yes. So benevolent. More like you need all hands on deck when it comes to promoting your brand. So then she said, I heard Margaret's having a party for her mom. You got the invite? And Dolores goes, oh, yeah. And Teresa goes, so I guess I'm not invited, which is fine because, I wouldn't go anyway. She does say she thinks that Marge Sr. is great. But, Margaret, she doesn't want to be around anyone that's negative. Oh, yes, because you were the textbook image of positivity at Treescape. God, it's so, like, she doesn't even hear the irony when she says things. Okay, so now we are at Joe and Melissa's house, and Tiki and Tracy come over, and I didn't even know they had a kid. They have a 4-year-old girl named Tegan. She's adorable. They're talking about the charity softball game, because I think it was just the night before. And Melissa is complaining that her ass hurts, and Tracy goes, why? Because those leggings were too tight? Melissa said something like, yeah, you wouldn't wear them. And she goes, no, Margaret and I weren't going to wear them after the way she was yelling at us at Treescape. She's blaming me for something Tiki said to Louie, which is ridiculous. And Tiki goes, after the game, I went up to her and I said, you're not really mad at me, are you? Teresa, no, just your wife. Tiki's like, it's my disarming personality. Then Tiki and Joe go to throw football with the boys. Tracy talks about her daughter Tegan needing like socialization before kindergarten. And I guess she hired a tutor, and the tutor said she doesn't think she's socially ready for kindergarten yet. Tracy's like, I just want to set her up for success. Melissa goes, she'll be fine. She'll grow out of that. She'll be fine. Melissa talks about her worries for Antonia because they moved her in the middle of high school and then she tore her ACL. She doesn't want to cheer, and she seems like she's depressed. And she tells Tracy, I went through a period like that myself. My father died when I was 15, and then my mother moved me to Florida, and she was depressed. And so she's kind of seeing those things in Antonia, and it's making her like on high alert. And Tracy's just trying to comfort her and saying, listen, you and Joe are giving her a stable, loving home that, you didn't have that growing up. Tracy just thinks it's normal teenage stuff. Taylor ham! I don't even know what Taylor ham is. Is it a kind of ham or is it a brand? I never heard of it before. Next, we are at the ice cream shop with Jackie and her kids. Jackie orders a small cup of vanilla, baby steps. And they all sit down at like a picnic table outside, and she like takes a spoon and she goes, oh, there's cake in it. And I was like, oh no, she's gonna not eat it. But she did. She ate it, and she was even trying some of the kids' ice cream. So, I feel kind of proud of her. Next, we're at the gym. Doing stuff with Melissa and Antonia. Antonia is actually meeting with her trainer, and Melissa tells the trainer, she's been cleared by her doctor. You can work her harder now, and so she's trying some jumps. She actually told the trainer that she does want to get back into cheer or tumbling. She asked her if she liked cheer or tumbling better, and she said tumbling. And so she's really kind of making her jump on things and kind of, working that knee. Melissa cannot help herself from being an embarrassment. When Antonia tells the trainer that, she does want to get back into tumbling, Melissa like squeals. I'm so happy you want to get back into tumbling. I was worried about you for a while there. Antonia's like, stop. You're making it sound like I was depressed. And Melissa goes, well, I was afraid of that because that happened to me when I was your age. I told you about when I moved to Florida. I wasn't accepted at the school the way you are. Antonia goes, it's stressful, though. Like, who moves their kids in the middle of high school? You kept saying, it'll be fine. And Melissa kind of admits that, she wasn't taking what Antonia was saying into consideration. And she's like, and I think it's because, I wanted it to be good because I didn't want to think I was ruining your life the way my life was ruined. And Antonia said, I get what you're saying. I respect that. Melissa, you do? Antonia, oh, no, stop. I'll throw up everywhere. Stop. Melissa, do you want to hug it out? Antonia, no. Next, we are at Jackie's appointment with her therapist. She talked about how she kind of shuts Evan down because she thinks like there's all this stuff he doesn't know about and that she's hiding so much stuff from him. But when she talked to him about it, he said, I notice everything. And so the therapist was kind of saying, yeah, you really should let him in more. And then she asks her about the ice cream outing. And Jackie said, yes, I did it. She said she didn't have a problem while she was eating the ice cream, but afterward she felt very guilty. And it was very hard for her to not compensate for eating that ice cream in the afternoon. Because she said, I thought to myself, what would like a quote unquote normal person do if they had ice cream? Well, they would, give up having something else later. And the therapist said, no, a normal person doesn't skip something else because they had a little ice cream. And Jackie goes, really? Therapist said, I think there's always compensatory eating in all eating disorders. So Jackie would like to try another food challenge. And the therapist said, great, how about pizza? And she's like, okay, take a breath. I can see that that's creating anxiety and it doesn't have to be pizza. So Jackie comes up with the idea of, what if I just add one thing every day? So if it's a croissant in the morning, and then maybe one day it would be dessert. And the therapist thought that was a good idea. So that's the plan. Okay, next we are at the event space that Marge Sr.'s party is going to be at. It's Margaret, Marge Sr., and Lexi. And they've got curlers in their hair. They're getting ready there. So it's probably hours before the guests are coming. Then we get the little getting ready montage. At Dolores' house, she tells Frank, I love Marge Sr. And Frank says, oh, yeah, how could you not love Marge Sr.? Dolores, you want to make out with her, don't you? And Frank goes, for her birthday, maybe. God. At Jackie and Evan's house, Jackie is a little afraid of her new plan to eat one extra thing every day. But Evan encourages her. She keeps asking him, if I get fat, how are you going to be about that? And are you going to leave me? And she's super insecure. And Evan, encourages her by saying, listen, you could gain a lot of weight and I would still love you just as much. You're perfect at any weight, but you're healthier at a certain weight. You want to be around for a long time, don't you? Then over at the Aidens, Jennifer said, I'm happy to be invited to a party. I really feel like Margaret and I are in a good place. And Bill said, I'm happy to come and support you. You are moving on, and I will do my best to move on as well. Side note, he's looking a little more put together today. Did you guys notice that? So whatever he was going through there for a while, I feel like, now he's no longer bad for the vamps. Anyway, Jennifer says thank you, and she's like, obviously you haven't seen the guys since Bros Night. Bill, well, Joe Gorga, as well as Evan, said you don't have a good heart, right? So I can't accept that, obviously. And Jennifer goes, yeah, but Evan did text you, right? Bill. Meanwhile, at Jackie and Evan's, Jackie said, so you and Bill are good, right? And Evan goes, yeah. I texted him. I said I was sorry for everything I said the other night. And he wrote me back no problem. Then we see the actual text. Evan, hey man, I'm sorry. Bill. That was it. That's the entire text exchange right there. So now at the Gorga's house, Melissa says, how are you going to be with Bill? Because, I'm good with Jennifer now. Well, listen, the Gorgas need apologies. Joe and his sister are cut from the same cloth. Joe's not happy that Bill just stood there while his wife called him a little bitch girl. Joe's like, he never apologized for that. Then he says this very suspicious thing. Bill needs to face it. Like a man would. Does he know that Bill's a vampire? It kind of sounds like it. I'm not going to get my hopes up. I still think we're the only ones that know, but Joe Gorga may be suspicious of it. Next, we are at Teresa's house, and she and Melania and Gia, while they're packing up the house, they're taking a trip down memory lane. Lots of memories about Nona that are kind of scary, though. Melania's like, that was the drawer with the wooden spoon that Nona used to threaten me with. Okay. Then Gia goes, over there was where Nona used to pull my hair. Nona sounds like she might have had some anger issues. I don't know Nona that well. I don't think she was ever really on the show that much. Not like, no. But I think Teresa might get her temper from her mother. Yeah, the girl's memories are so violent. with their Nona. Gia's like, yeah, she used to like yank my hair and say, get out of here. Okay. It's not funny. I think there's a lot of people that can relate to like the old school grandma threatening with the wooden spoon, but there may have been a little more to it with Nona. But I gotta tell you, I will never get tired of seeing those season 1 flashbacks to when those girls were so little and adorable and they were seeing their house for the first time, and it's so cute. Now Teresa and Melania are crying. It's very sweet, actually. Okay, so now we are at the party for Marge Sr. There's a giant poster with the seating arrangement, and this is actually where we get to see why the episode is called The Horny Hungarians, because they have named all the tables. It's a little bit like a wedding reception, but instead of like table numbers where you can see where you're seated, each table has a name, and like the first table is the hungry... No, not hungry. Hungry Hungarians. The first table is the Horny Hungarians. Joe Gorga, of course, and Melissa are at that table. And I think some of the other housewives are there too. And then Jennifer and Bill are seated at a table called the Houdini Hotties. And I'm sorry, I don't know if you guys noticed this or not, but it seems like that was a huge miss to not put Bill and Jennifer at the next table, which was called the Vampire Vixens. Come on, Margaret. Unless you're trying not to out Bill, I don't understand why he wasn't seated at that table. Anyway, Frank and Dolores arrive, and Joe Benigno and Frank are talking about, is Bill coming? And Joe says, if Joe Gorga starts getting into it with Bill, I'm going to shut him down. This is a party to celebrate Marge Sr. And so Frank said, I'll help you. Oh, okay. I was wondering why this place looked a little familiar to me. So when Melissa and Joe arrive with Melissa's mother, her mother is saying something about the place. And Melissa goes, Ma, you realize this is where we had Joey's christening, right? Flashback to that uneventful occasion. This was our introduction to Melissa as a housewife when Joe got into it with Joe Giudice and his father, and you're my father!
They rolled my father and me!
It was horrible. Okay, so almost everyone is there, and there's a ton of people here, not just housewives. There's all kinds of people, all of Marge Sr.'s friends and, I don't know, other family members and stuff. But like moths to a flame, the bros will always find another bro in a crowd, and they all kind of converge in one tight little circle. Circle of bros. They talk about the fact that Bill is supposed to come later, and Frank asks Evan, did you talk to him? Evan goes, I texted him, Frank, and he texted you back? Oh, yeah. Evan's like, yeah. So Frank goes, good. They ask Joe, are you going to start with Bill? And Joe's like, I don't know. It depends, Joe B. Don't start here. Okay, so in walk Jennifer and Bill now. Margaret thanks him for coming, and Bill's like, where's the birthday girl? Now, the closed captioning, I have closed captioning on. The closed captioning either didn't get this right, or Marge Sr. called Bill Phil. Because all we see is, hey, Phil. And Bill goes, happy birthday. So Bill finds Joe Benigno now. And you hear, Joe B. Joe, yo, Bill. Bill, what's up, baby? Joe, how are ya? Bill, we're getting there. Now, for those of you who are not fluent in bro, I'll translate that little interaction. What happened was Bill saw Joe B and he said, hello, thank you for inviting me. And Joe replied, it's good to see you. Then they embraced and professed their love for one another. Not gonna lie, when Joe B said, you're my boy to Bill, which, by the way, never say you're my boy to a vampire. It's just insulting. Anyway, when that happened and they embraced, from across the room, Joe Gorga looked a little surprised and maybe hurt. Now Frank is saying hello to Bill, and Joe Gorga can stand by no longer. He comes, charging across the room. Not charging, but, purposefully walking over. In Frank's confessional, he says, I see Joe coming over, and I know he expects an apology from Bill. But frankly, I don't think Bill owes him an apology. So this situation might not go very well. Now I will try to translate the conversation between Joe Gorga and Bill, which is spoken in bro, but there's a lot of subtext happening as well. So this one's a little bit trickier to translate. I will do my best. Joe, Bill, what's up? The underlying meaning there is, I see you all chummy with my bros, and I'm assuming you were looking for me so you could apologize. Bill, what's going on, big guy? What he's really saying is, what do you want, guy who's so small I'm going to ironically call him big? Joe, how you doing, man? You good? Have you been thinking about how wrong you are that you did not defend my honor when your wife besmirched my good name? Bill, I'm good, man. I have, and you're being a little bitch girl. Joe, you look good. Did you finally comb your hair? So before this comes to blows, Frank and Evan form a tight circle with them. Frank says, Bill, we missed you at the softball game. What he means is, Bill, we missed you at the softball game. Bill, oh, my surgery ran late. The subtext here is clearly, I'm going to remind you all that I'm a f***ing surgeon, bro. And I don't have time to play a game with you and your friends. Personally, I don't think Bill likes baseball. I think he resents that they call the wooden stick a bat. So Bill says, frankly, it's been a rough couple of weeks. And Frank says, we don't like dissension between the men. And Bill says, but the issue is, and he's pointing to Joe Gorga, you texted F you. And Joe goes, I'm going to be honest. You want me to tell you face to face? Your wife kicked us out. And it's degrading getting kicked out of your house. I thought, I'm friends with this guy. So I'm expecting a phone call. You should have at least called me and said, I'm sorry. Listen, whatever's going on with our wives, that's them. We're good. No worries. We're bros. We'll fix it. Bill appreciates the advice because, it's all a learning lesson, right? He hasn't been a bro for that long, and of course there are going to be a few missteps along the way. Bill, I absolutely understand, and my wife is out of place with that. But a lot of things took place leading up to it. Okay, cue the tender music. Joe, but you hurt me. Bill, I was hurt as well. Joe, and then you leave me again. You leave us again at bros night. Frank, he was upset, man, because you guys were picking on him. Well, the takeaway here, guys, is that when the bros get involved in the women's stuff, it doesn't go well. Bill offers to kiss Joe's ass the way Frank did, and he said, but just make sure I don't have my scalpel in my hand. I'll carve my name. Bill's bitch. Everyone laughs, and just like that, Bill is a bro again. Oh, guys. It's these sweet, tender moments that make the show worthwhile. See, so now where the ladies are standing, they look over and they see all the bros laughing and, touching each other. And somebody utters the phrase, it's going to be a good night, thereby cursing Marge Sr.'s party. Dolores talks to the ladies about how she has not been down the shore since they were all down there together because she's been, busy taking care of her mother. And she said, there's no way I'm going to let this summer go by without taking a vacation. Meanwhile, Frank asks the guys, have you guys heard Dolores' suggestion? And they're like, no, what? We get a flashback to Dolores telling Frank that, they all need to go on a fun trip. Frank, guys too? Dolores, yeah, guys too. So Melissa wants to go somewhere where they can drink. Where can't you drink? Okay, well, that rules out Pakistan or, Amish country. I don't know. I don't know if the Amish drink. So Dolores says, where everyone's going these days? Nashville. Margaret, oh, I've been dying to go to Nashville. Because you know what they call Nashville? Nash Vegas. So back to the guys. Joe B says, what about Louie and Teresa? You want them to come? Side note, oh boy, my closed captioning is having a rough day. Let me just say, because I'm pretty sure Joe B didn't say Teresa was having too much words with Mark. No, that would be Marge. It's like you don't even know us, closed captioning. Joe Gorga seems to think that when you go away, everybody bonds. What show have you been watching? Because I feel like a requirement of a Housewives trip is somebody breaks a glass on the table and shoves the shards into someone else's face. Dolores said, I mentioned the trip to Teresa, and she doesn't want to go anywhere without Louie. And Margaret goes, shocker. Melissa says to Margaret, did you send Teresa an invite to this tonight? Margaret goes, no. I mean, after the softball game? Dolores asks what happened at the softball game. And Margaret goes, she said my ass was jiggly. Dolores, no. Why does Dolores always act surprised that Teresa said some heinous thing to another woman? That's kind of her brand. And Tracy, corroborates that and said, yeah, she said that if she were wearing my leggings, her ass wouldn't be so jiggly. Margaret goes, she body shames me. She ruined Tracy's event. To be fair, I think it was the walking blindfolded 50 feet in the air that ruined Tracy's event, but Teresa too. And Tracy goes, and she's mad at me for something my husband said, but she's not mad at my husband. Dolores, she did tell me that. Teresa doesn't fight with men. Oh, okay. So if it's your man, you'll get blamed for it. Margaret goes, don't make excuses for her. She puts men on a pedestal, even men that treat her badly, like her ex-husband. Dolores, listen, guys, I'm not making excuses. It's just an explanation. She can handle her own, trust me. Okay, so now everyone is enjoying the goulash and the Wiener Schnitzel and all kinds of yummy food. Jackie's doing her best to eat. This really is like a wedding reception because now the DJ is announcing Marge Sr. and Margaret's giving a speech. Okay, Margaret's speech made me cry. And then Bill leans over to Jennifer and he said, maybe you and your mom will get there one day. That was a little heartbreaking. Anyway, now everyone's on the dance floor, whooping it up. Everyone's having a good time. Marge Sr.'s like, come on, Phil. Bill picks her up in his arms, spinning her around. And we end this episode on a high note. Again, I'm so happy about that. Won't last long. Of course. This is Housewives. And I was wrong. Marge Sr.'s party was not cursed. All right, that's it for me. Thank you guys very, very much for being here. If you liked what you just saw here, then please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel. I love you guys. I will be back next time with a recap of The Real Housewives of New Jersey. Bye.